quick.
No, don't worry. I'll text you.
Good evening and welcome to the match review here on Claret and Booze. So I've had a lovely day out today at Chelsea. The result didn't end up the way I wanted, but we're going to discuss that and we're going to do some player ratings as well. I'm joined by, as usual, John. How you doing, John?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Very, very buoyed by the result, even though we lost, but I was impressed. So yeah, I've had a good day. Thanks for asking.
And returning special guest coming over to the UK this week to see a couple of games. Danny, how you doing?
Good to see you guys. Happy to be back on. And obviously, like you just said, I'll see you soon in person.
Yeah. Well, you're timing it well. You're timing it well to come over and see Frankfurt and Arsenal in a couple of days. You couldn't have done that any better. So you're going to see history made on Thursday. I'm sure about it.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so.
So Nick will be joining us if and when his internet comes back up, because he's lost his internet connection for some reason. It's very, very convenient in my view.
He's dog chewed through the cable, probably. Dog at my own work.
Yeah. So look, let's move on to the game. Had a lovely day today going over there. I mean, it was really easy. I woke up this morning. All of the tube trains were knackered. There was no district line, which I need. There was no central line, which I need. And so I was thinking, how am I going to get there? And then by the time we left, me and my son Ross, by the time we left, everything seemed to be back up again. So we, straight around the Jubilee line. We got there we were there nice and early. We were there at 1 o'clock, sitting in our seats, watching the players warm up. Let's talk about the team. So, that's the lineup, the depleted reserve team that David Moyes put out. I'll tell you what, there was one name that jumped out at me when I saw this. Ever guess which one it was?
Masuaku?
Exactly, Masuaku. And I thought I had flashbacks, like that dog on who's the guy, West Ham Clips, that dog, flashback dog, that was me thinking about, because I've been to 3 away games in London this year. I've been to Arsenal, I've been to Tottenham, I've been to Tottenham twice actually, and I've been to and now I've been to Chelsea, and every time bloody Masuaku has played, and in the previous 2 games, you're on mute, John. Your lips seem to be moving.
Sorry, I was talking to my boy off camera.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah. All right. So I thought, here we go again. But no, when I looked at it and had the time to digest it, I thought this is sensible, right? Moyes has rotated the parts that he can rotate. What did you two think? John?
Exactly that, mate. We called for it on Friday's night show. And let's be honest, most of the fan base have been calling for it for a while. So there's no way that anyone can look at that team and go, oh, my God, it's what we've been calling for. A little bit of rotation with the small squad that we've got. Yeah. So I was happy with it. I wasn't expecting a result. I wasn't expecting a massive performance. And I was just happy that he seemingly had put the Europa League at the top of the priority list. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was happy.
Yeah, how about you, Danny?
No complaints from me. Sort of to echo what John had said, when I saw that team sheet, I was a little relieved because I woke up obviously excited for the game, but when I saw the team sheet, I'm like, all right, he's really going for it here, and that's what we want. Top 4 is kind of it's not going to happen. That's a foregone conclusion at this point. So might as well put all our eggs in one basket and see if we can get in the Champions League.
No, I agree. And when you saw that team, that lineup, that reserve team, did you think we were going to get stuffed?
No, I didn't see. I didn't think we were going to have like a rough day. But honestly, the end result, a 1-0. If you had told me that was going to be how things would shake out, I wouldn't have been all that surprised. Maybe how those things transpired is what pissed me off, not so much the actual result.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting much from the game initially, and I wasn't expecting much from the game when I saw the team sheet. And that's not criticising the team selection. It's literally, for me now, and people are probably going to go, this game meant nothing to me. I didn't really care. And that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But what I would say is that as the game progressed, I started to care more because I thought, hang on a minute, we're actually in this. We can nick a point with our B team. So my interest in the result actually increased minute by minute. And as I thought, which we're going to go into, as I thought we played actually well. So all of a sudden, my lack of interest in the result and the game changed, as the game progressed. So
it's almost cruel how it roped you in.
Yeah.
It seems like they roped us in, like, oh, we might get something out of this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I know.
Definitely.
It was kind of cruel. I mean, look, arriving at the game, it was a lovely sunny day over in Stamford Bridge, even though this photo doesn't bring out the best in it. It was about cloudy by then. But one thing I noticed looking around the ground was these big gaps in empty seats, right? Especially in the lower tier right next to us in the main stand. This one at the end was completely empty, barren.
What's the situation? They can't sell home tickets. Only season ticket holders can turn up.
There was a bloke on the train on the way home because me and Ross are talking amongst ourselves and saying how terrible it was they couldn't sell out a Premier League game against West Ham. And he said, we can't sell tickets. We can't even buy a programme. So it's like,
how do away fans buy tickets then?
I don't know. I think there's...
do those ticket allocations profit the visiting club? I don't... How does
that
work?
No, they don't.
Do they not? Did I not?
Well, I don't know. The money. No, if you're buying a ticket to go into their ground, it must go to them. You don't get a share of gate receipts in a league game.
Yeah, it's at someone else's ground. Yeah, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But I didn't know.
No, you only get in the UK, Dan, or British football, as far as I'm aware. I think it's the same for Scotland. You only get a share of the gate receipts in the cup matches. In the league matches, all the gate receipts or ticket sales go to the home team. So it must be that the FA or the Premier League have decided that the away fans can purchase tickets. The money for that must be held in a pot somewhere. It must be being held somewhere.
Probably dead money for now.
I don't know what's happened with it, but it's a shame though, isn't it? I suppose.
Oh yeah, it's a right shame. I mean, look, I don't know how many season ticket holders they've got, but the fewer Chelsea fans in there, the better. Hang on, I'm about to run out of battery. Hang on, easy. Easy.
Don't run out of battery. Don't do it.
That's better. I just managed to get my power in before it fell off the. Oh, scary. Right. There was something that Steve Spraggs mentioned here, and that's true. How good was our support today? I mean, I speak for myself. I was amazing, but there were
that's all I could hear.
Honestly, that's all you could hear inside the ground. I don't know how many season ticket holders they've got. They've probably got, I don't know, 24,000. Was it old 40? They've probably got 27,000 season ticket holders. There's at least 10,000, I reckon, empty seats in there. Because even when you looked around at the ones that were full, they were only kind of full. There was lots of empty seats everywhere. It was, and they were quiet. They were really quiet. I mean, they didn't sing until the second half. They had a bit of pressure in the second half when they started to get on top for a little while. Then they got a little bit noisy, and then they stood up and cheered at the end when they scored. But other than that, they're quiet. And West Ham just outsang them all the way through. It was a beautiful away day, and there's some lovely new songs over there as well, like "Que Sera, Sera," "Whatever will be, will be." We're going to Germany. I love that one. And also "Your Ground's Too Big for You," which is a good one. There's lots of. What
was the one they were singing? My missus heard it, and she was even laughing when the Declan Rice was warming up, and they was going.
So he left because you're shit.
He left because you're shit.
Yeah. What was he in? Declan left because you're shit or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, he left because you're shit. That's what we were singing.
Yeah. All right,
Declan Rice, he left because you're shit. And Declan Rice was standing there laughing his head off right in front of us. It was quite funny.
He's not going anywhere, man. Not anytime soon.
I don't think he's going this season, but I don't know if you saw. I mean, we'll come on to the game in a minute. This is just like the circumstantial stuff. But again, we've got some overreactive fans who have taken a picture of Dec laughing with his best mate Mason Mount at the end and said, "Oh, come on, it's his mate. It's his mate. Give the guy a break."
Yeah.
Did you see the way you can't down the guy's commitment? Did you see what he just did to Lukaku?
That was brilliant.
That was brilliant. Yeah,
and he laughed at him after off the ball. Did you see it?
It did. It was fantastic.
He was looking his way and sort of giggling at him, like as if to say, I don't know what's going on there. But...
So look, onto the game. So the first half, I got to be honest, we didn't create a lot in the first half, did we? We had a couple of shots. I don't think Chelsea really created very much either. I think it was very a very even game. I thought we were defending really well with a 5. I saw from Masuaku early on that he got passed by Loftus-Cheek and I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to cut inside. They're going to score, but they didn't. It was blocked. And then a few minutes later, Masuaku got a tackle in. It wasn't on Loftus-Cheek. It was on the number 6, whoever it is, and he won the ball. And from that point on, he seemed to grow in confidence a little bit. And that was the bit that I was worried about, obviously, right? How did you two think we fared in the first half, Danny?
It didn't feel exactly like a stalemate. It was precisely that first half that had me thinking I would be okay with a point here, having woken up for this game expecting to get nothing out of it. Yeah. I thought, maybe we can hang on here. It's not, it didn't look that bad. It wasn't the most exciting first half of football I've ever seen, but it didn't have me at all worried that we were going to lose that game based off of what I saw in the first half.
No. How about you, John?
No, the first half was played pretty much in front of both back fours. Both keepers were pretty much redundant in the first half. There wasn't a lot of action for them to deal with, but we didn't look in trouble at any point. I didn't think. I thought we were quite comfortable on the ball. We looked to play the right way. Yarmolenko, he was very energetic today. I've got to give him a lot of credit. We'll get onto him later on when we go more in depth about the player ratings. But I thought we worked actually quite hard for him, and
he did.
And we've got to put the Ukraine thing beside us and judge him as a player. We know what we thought of him, but he's grown into our hearts recently. What with the goal scoring and that, but I thought he led the line fairly well today. Maybe could have held back on runs and that. I thought Noble looked very competent in the middle, and I thought Souček shielded the back four fantastically well today.
Back five, yeah, I think he did. I think he had a really good game, Souček. He appeared to nearly get knocked out cold as well during the first half, didn't he? When he
what is it with the head injuries to our players? Like, stop it.
It's pretty much Souček and Dawson, isn't it? Who just get head injuries.
They're getting battered, man. They might as well play in the NFL if they're gonna keep doing this shit.
He should just keep that bandage on, so it's an extra layer of protection. He had it on for a couple of games, didn't he? Yeah, I was happy. I think with Noble, the one thing I'd say is as the game went on, and we come to the second half in a minute. As the game went on, Noble seemed to visibly get slower and slower and slower in his passing. But then again, he's getting on, and he, to be honest, he put in a very good, competent 60 minutes against a good side, right? And don't forget, he was up against Kante, wasn't he?
Yeah, who's energetic because he's very energetic for CDM or whatever.
He runs enough for two people on any given game.
Oh, Kante's ridiculous. He's just he's constantly he's so sort of upbeat and positive. When he gets the ball, he's always looking to run. He's always looking to run at the opposition. I love a player like that. I really love to have him outside.
Getting back to the attendance there and the lack of Chelsea fans.
Yeah.
Do you think that might be a little bit of because I think they've lost quite a few home games now in a row, or I know they did lose today, but they weren't great. But they lost at home to Arsenal, Real Madrid. Do you think the lack of fans in their ground is having an effect on them? Like it's a bit flat, if you know what I mean.
Sure as hell doesn't help.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. But
it could be.
I'm worried. I don't give a monkeys, but you know what I mean.
No, I thought, to be honest, they had more season ticket holders than that because it ain't a big ground, right? It's a nice ground. I like Chelsea, but it's one of those things. I thought they might have a few spare seats around the edges, but to have entire blocks empty, and because that wasn't the only one next to us, there were a few others as well. And I thought that was a bit strange for a Premier League side. But then again, perhaps that's what they do. Perhaps they make as much money as they can out of selling the tickets to the tourists. Right?
I always, when I used to work in the city, because I was a city bod once, used to get the Evening Standard, and I always remember Chelsea advertising Champions League tickets still available, like the day before a Champions League game.
Oh wow!
And I could never understand that. I used to think, bloody hell. This is when West Ham was nowhere near Europe, right? Regularly. And I used to always think, Jesus, if West Ham was in this, we'd never had a problem selling out tickets.
Well, you know what? I think we've got more in common with Eintracht Frankfurt than we have with Chelsea, because very well, we could have sold that game on Thursday and the one next week. We could have sold it out over and over again. And Frankfurt, so that's what they could do in their last leg. In their last leg
over. You'd sell it out twice over.
Yeah. They had 250,000 applicants in there for their last game or something like that. So I think we are a massively supported club. I know we get called massive a lot, but I think we have got a massive fan base over here. Huge. So
Can I just quickly go through some comments before we move
yeah,
on?
go
Or-
through some comments, John.
Yeah, okay. Just let's fly through some of these because I've neglected. I do apologise. Evening from DJ Ross. Evening from Danny's better half there. A very good evening from Jay Woods. Steve Sprague says, "Evening chaps deserved the point today, in my honest opinion."
I agree with
Totally
that.
agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree. Dan, we've got one of yours in the building. Hello from Auburn, Alabama.
Ah,
Love
Lawrence is
it.
back.
Alabama.
Lawrence is
Love
back.
it.
How did you say that? Alabama. Sorry. Kevin Bering, evening lads. I thought a point would have been a good result today. Yeah, during as the game
brilliant
went
result.
on, mate, I was
Yeah.
fit. I was clinging on to getting a point, but as I said beforehand, I wasn't so sure. Steve Spraggs, how good was our support today? Different class, best fans in the world. Yep, Gary's number one allegedly. Barney McGrew, good performance. Maybe looked better due to lackluster Chelsea. Maybe. Thought Fab could have come out quicker to help Dawson. I did think that as well.
Yeah.
And maybe avoid the penalty, but we're going to go into that a little bit later. Dawson man of the match. I don't disagree, but people probably won't
Yeah.
after his red card. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Ashley says, how can you have a red card and a penalty? Well, I don't know. I think you can. No attempt to get the
By the
ball.
way, before you go on, the crowd was singing Dawson's name today. And
I heard that after he got sent off, and I was
Yeah.
so happy when I heard that.
it was before he got sent off
Oh,
as
was
well.
it?
Yeah. It was only
I
one
didn't-
Craig
I didn't
Dawson
hear
they
it
were
on-
singing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you was there, but I didn't
Yeah.
hear it via the television until after he'd been sent off. They were singing one Craig Dawson. I thought that was brilliant. I thought
They
that
were
was-
singing it earlier in the game. They were singing it earlier in the game as well. But he got
Oh, that's great.
he got a standing ovation when he went off the pitch as well.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, mate. That's all I've ever wanted.
He's a fan favorite with for good reason.
He's become
It's
one.
not,
He's
it's
got
not just
into
a
our
cult
hearts,
hero
doesn't he?
status type. Like he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So Lawrence says, I wanted at least a draw, want Europa, but I do want top six. Yeah, mate, if we win the Europa League, I don't care if we finish 27th.
Yeah, we could lose out really in the Premier League.
Steve Spraggs only turned up when they scored. I think you're talking about the Chelsea fans.
The Chelsea,
Amanda, West Ham fans were fantastic. She echoed what you said. We're going to talk about a bit more detailed in a minute, but Kevin says, do you think it was a bit of corruption of sending off and the penalty going forward into the semis? No, because Dawson's not going to. He's banned
Right.
only next Premier League, isn't it?
Let me be clear with everybody that's watching. Right, it is a 1 game ban in the Premier League only.
And why is it a one-game ban, Gal? Because
It's the type of offence. It's the type of offence. Nigel shared with us the categorisations of the different offences earlier. But I've read.
Yeah, it wasn't a violent challenge.
No, but I've read it from elsewhere as well. Now that it's only a 1 game ban, so he'll only miss Norwich. No, he missed Arsenal. He'll be back for Norwich.
Well, I'm always available. Good centre half like me.
Top centre half.
Lawrence Watkins, first half, 0 offence. Defence was good, granted. We sat back and only looked on the counters. Yeah. I was at Chelsea. Someone else was there with you today. Adam Levitt. I was at Chelsea today. Did see ground look like fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gal Ross was with you. Apparently, it's not double jeopardy because he didn't attempt to play the ball.
No, and that was what I said to Ross. I said I thought if you gave away a penalty, you couldn't get a red card as a double jeopardy rule. You remember Fabianski brought the player down last week, right? And he didn't get sent off. He just got a yellow card because they deemed it punishment enough to give a penalty, right? But apparently, double jeopardy doesn't count unless you try to play the ball. And he didn't try to play the ball. He pulled the guy's shirt and pulled him down. So yeah.
That's what categorizes it as a professional foul, or is that?
Yes, it's a professional foul. Yeah,
It's very confusing, isn't it? I didn't know there were so many different.
Really,
I genuinely didn't know. What's this other one here?
That sounds like a rule that was made up on the spot.
It's one of those meetings paid for.
That was made up on the spot the first time it happened.
Yeah.
Kevin says, I thought we lacked pace on the break. Vlasic would have been stronger. I'm not so sure. On the ball rather than Benny. I think. Sorry, Gail, just quickly. I think Vlasic and Benny are very similar players. They're both quite underwhelming. If I'm honest with you, I'm not being horrible, but
and the worst thing as well. The worst thing as well, right, is that that if he puts Vlasic on the pitch, he's going to put him in a 1-for-1 replacement for Ben Rama on the left wing.
That's not his natural position.
That is not his natural position. His natural position is the number 10 role. We're never going to get to see him in the number 10 role, sadly.
Yeah, but I understand their favoured position and all that. I get that, but look, they're professional footballers. Their job is to be adapt. They've got to adapt. You have to adapt at times. You know, I understand what you're saying, but I just think that, like with Vlasic, I think he's very similar to Benrahma. When either of them start, I'm very underwhelmed by both. That's what I would say generally.
I'd say there's
he
one
played on the wing at Everton too.
Yeah, and he wasn't very good there either. And the thing is, he doesn't have the pace for to be a winger. He doesn't have the cross to be a winger. He ain't a winger. So putting him on the wing, you're not going to get the best out of him. What you do get, him versus Benrahma, what you get from Vlasic is he's got some guts and he's got some fight. Whereas Benrahma just hasn't, right? I mean, a number of times today, Benrahma just, especially in the second half, Benrahma came forward down the left, turned around and pass back again. You just want him, you know, you can see the defenders panicking and you just want him to square up and run at the player. But he just didn't do it.
The thing I noticed with Benrahma today, he did nick the ball a couple of times off defenders, right? But I can't. There was one time in the first half, he nicked the ball off Chalobah, the right centre back, and he nicked the ball off him, and he must have had 3 yards of him off. He had 3 yards on him. Yeah. And within 2 strides, Chalobah had got back. Now, I get that Chalobah's probably quick, but to me, it made Benny look exceptionally slow. And I'm thinking, is he slow? He must be quite slow, as well as everything else, you know?
It happened also, unless you may have him confused with when it happened with Thiago Silva as well.
No, that was another one, yeah. That was
and that's a player 11 years a senior. There's no reason to get outrun like that.
Yeah, he's 37, isn't he, Silva? Bloody hell.
I don't think Benrahma is slow, but I also don't think he's fast. I think he's one of these medium-paced players. You know, he's not gonna beat him. His
acceleration isn't great.
Well, this is why putting him on the left wing and putting Vlasic on the left wing is a nonsense, because they don't have the pace to get past someone and get a cross in, and and neither of them can cross. So it's just you know. Anyway, look, let's move on to the second half. So the second half, again, I thought Chelsea, as the game progressed, I thought it was a good quiet first 20 minutes. We kept them relatively quiet, and then Chelsea started to get on top and they had a few efforts at goal. And their crowd suddenly woke up on about 80 minutes or something like that, because they nearly scored a couple of times. Some fabulous saves from Fabianski, I thought. Well, good saves anyway. Good competent saves. You know, nothing world class, but good enough to keep us in it.
Definitely a good adjustment to make on the spot. I don't remember who it is that took the shot, but that deflected
off Johnson, and he
it took a bit of a deflection, and he had already started diving and made the adjustment.
He caught that right in his fingertips. When they showed the replay, he literally just held onto that on his fingertips. It was quite. I suppose that was a good adjustment. Yeah, okay, I'll give him that.
I think he'd already dived. He was already on the floor for that one, wasn't he? So I thought that was a good save.
Oh no, get off camera doing that, Jesus.
She won't hang around too long, like with Stell. You won't have a repeat of that, fellas.
Yeah. Right. So, what else happened in the second half? I can't quite remember. There was a sort of penalty incident, wasn't there? But anyway, look, before then, what happened was Moisey made a few changes. I think he took Noble off for Deck with half hour to go. He replaced Bowen came on for Yarmolenko, who'd pretty much run himself into the ground. I mean, Yarmo had that chance where he had the double shot, which I've since been told was offside. You know, me and Ross.
They give offside after the event.
Yeah, that's a shame.
He did get caught offside a lot today, Yarmolenko. He was trying to make the right sort of runs, but he got caught offside. Must have been 4 or 5 times, I think, which was quite disappointing. But you know,
but again, it was a relatively stable second half, and then Lanzini came on for Benrahma. Right, so they were the 3 substitutions, and we're thinking like happy days. We're going to see out this last 10 minutes, and we're going to get an unexpected draw. I mean, when Deck came on the pitch, one of the first things he did was to absolutely make a mug out of Lukaku. Yeah, he really did. I mean, that was a shoulder to shoulder with Lukaku trying to beast him, right? And he weren't having any of it. He just turned the tables on him completely. And I love that. And when Dec came on the pitch, you could just tell, even though it's Chelsea, with all these superstars, there's a presence with Dec. He came on the pitch and he looked like the adult in amongst all the kids, right? It's just such a shame that he ended up having to find himself being the only centre half in the end. So anyway, let's talk before we talk about the pen. Let's talk about the game leading up to the pen. What did you think, John?
They grew into it slightly, didn't they? They had a bit more of the ball second half, but we were still. I mean, we were still sort of looking a little bit dangerous on the break to some extent without creating much. I mean, as I said, Yarmolenko was straying offside quite a bit. Benrahma, you know, for all his forward thinking, he was still a little bit disappointed. But we didn't look at sixes and sevens. And I've got to say, I think Gary Neville said it on commentary actually, and it's a fantastic thing. There's a skill. There's an art to blocking as a defender, right? There's a way of blocking, and if you look at, and I'm not just saying Dawson because I'm his number one fan, but like even Johnson today was blocking fantastically well. Cresswell was blocking well. We was almost saying have the ball, because when they got on top a little bit, you know, Chelsea were sort of on the edge of our area and they just couldn't break us down. They could not break us down, and we was allowing them to shot. So we was very, very comfortable defensively, I felt. I did think when Lukaku came on, and it's very easy to say in hindsight, but I said to Freddie, my boy, I said, he'll make a difference because that's something different that they haven't had. Like, obviously, you know, Lukaku's a different type of presence. We know he's not on form and all that, but he's going to try and, what he did, out-muscle defenders. And it's a little bit of a different game when he comes on. But I still felt we dealt comfortably up until the obvious decision that happened later on, so...
no, there's a good point about the blocks as well. I noticed that today. Loads of them.
Non-stop. It's heroic. And it's you know, there was one that Dawson made. I sent you the clip in the WhatsApp group, didn't I? There was one where, I can't remember who hit it now, but he made an absolutely heroic, it was almost like John Terry-esque, the way John Terry used to block balls. You know, and I love that sort of defending.
It's old school defending. You'd love to see a guy like that give up his body and just not give a shit what happens.
And then there was another one when he blocked from somebody and he's on his arse, but he got his hand on the floor and he was like Spider-Man. He was just still trying to get up whilst he's on the floor.
Still breakdancing in the box.
Yeah.
It's just trying to get in front of the ball.
Guy, you know, he never gives up.
So how about you, Danny? Pre-penalty.
Pre-penalty, it was almost like a little bit of a crescendo of a game in terms of the energy, or rather, the energy and my excitement about it.
Yeah.
Up until then, I really thought, especially in the second half, I'm like, we can nick 3 points here. We can get a goal. It's going to happen one way or another. Something will happen. I thought we would have pulled one back when we got that foul, and Cress had another opportunity to drill one into the back of the net, kind of the same spot that he was at when he scored his last one against Everton. And it was an exciting second half up until, you know, all of that. But
it was sort of end to end at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really got exciting there for a while.
Yeah.
Like if that had ended in a 0-0 draw, I would have been so happy with that because it was an entertaining game.
Yeah.
What surprised me, that the statistics said that Chelsea had 26 shots.
What?
Oh, well.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Apparently, I don't know how they judge a shot. I mean, if they have a shot and someone blocks it, a defender, is that a shot?
That's a shot. Yeah, the shots on target are going to be different.
But they had 26 shots and only 5 on target, so that means 26 shots and only Fabs had to only deal with 5. That's not a great ratio, is it?
No,
really.
They blasted plenty, you know, wide or over the net.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
It's brilliant. So then what happened was a ball over the top, Lukaku running onto it. Dawson gets caught the wrong side, ends up pulling back Zuma. Yeah. He goes down theatrically.
Lukaku, not Zuma.
Lukaku, not Zuma. Lukaku. I've got Zuma on. I'll tell you why I'm thinking about Zuma in a minute. I'll tell you why I'm thinking about
the shocking twist. He brought down his own player.
I'll tell you why I'm thinking about him in a minute, right? There's a little story at the end of this. But anyway, so Lukaku goes down theatrically. The referee points straight to the spot without hesitation. Apparently, we should have had a corner at the start of that move.
Apparently so,
right?
yeah.
which
Yeah.
is just like what happened against Leon the other week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where there should have
Yeah.
been a foul on Bowen. Oh, come on, give us a break. Let's get some luck. I mean, look, I'd rather have luck on Thursday than luck today, but these things have got to stop going against us, you know. But anyway, the penalty, John, Danny, you saw it on telly. To me, it was down the other end of the ground. So, what did you think, Danny? Start with you.
I fucking really don't like Jorginho, so I was just shouting a few curse words here and there, just hoping that he would.
But was it a pen? Was it a pen? And
yeah, it was a pen. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was worthy of sending off, but it absolutely was a nailed-on pen. I wouldn't argue that, especially in full at full speed. It looked like a pen, and obviously when they ran the play back and showed that back, I'm like, yeah, absolutely it is. But I was confused when the referee ran over to VAR check. And the announcer says, "Oh, well, this might be a sign that the decision may change." And I'm thinking, really, is that going to go our way? And then he just changed it from a yellow to a red.
No, in the ground they said checking red card, VAR checking red card.
Yeah,
So,
that's not what they said on TV.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little bit extreme. I must admit, at the time, I thought there was a double jeopardy rule. It always seems a bit silly to me when and it punishment enough to get a penalty, for Christ's sake, you know.
Yeah.
And a yellow card. A yellow card would surely be enough, wouldn't it? But anyway, there you go.
I think that I mean, look, if it was the other way around, we'd expect the player to be sent off. If we're totally honest, right?
Oh yeah, and banned for 5-6 games. Yeah,
and banned for 5-6 games. Exactly that. But, that to me, that was such a shame because Dawson. Listen, we're going to go on to it later, but he was absolutely superb today.
Yeah.
He sort of single-handedly said today, well, we might not have any centre backs, but surely I'm enough, because he was absolutely immense, and he just made that one. He got underneath the ball. He got caught out. He got rolled by Lukaku, which is what Lukaku does. That's his strength, isn't it? And I suppose he had no choice. Someone did say it in the chat earlier that I put up. I did think again that Fabianski, he doesn't play a high enough line for me. And I've been his biggest
stopped
fans.
coming forward at that point.
Well, Dan, the thing is nowadays keepers don't stand in their 6-yard box hardly ever. When the ball, when Chelsea had the ball, they're on the centre spot area.
Yeah,
he should be a bit higher. He's still in his 6-yard box, and I'm not saying he would have definitely there, but a modern day keeper would have been far, far, far higher up, and he could have dealt with that and swept it up a bit quicker. I think. However, I'm not blaming him. It was Dawson's fault, let's be honest. But he was immense up to that point. But it was a penalty, if I'm honest with you.
Let me just say, when Dawson got sent off, he had his head down. He was clearly distraught, and he kept his head down. And he was walking towards the touchline, and then suddenly he got a standing ovation, and they started singing his name, and his head came up, and he started clapping the crowd back and everything else. Beautiful thing, beautiful moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then going back, Danny, take us through that fucking hilarious penalty. Go on.
Jorginho, I don't know something about his playing style, his antics, his attitude, everything rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And obviously I was delighted that he made a mess of that. I'm not sure if he could have made that any easier for Fabianski. He just assumed that Fab was going to dive the wrong way. He was so convinced that he'd have him fooled that he barely put any power on that shot whatsoever. My grandma could have stopped that shit.
We were laughing because we were getting baited by the 5 Chelsea fans who bothered to turn up.
And it
was just so hilarious when he missed that, because from down our end it just looked comical. It looked like he just passed it to him,
Yeah.
Was he trying to do the Panenka thing?
It didn't look like he was trying for a Panenka.
No, he was trying to chip it down the middle, but I think he just totally mishit it. I think he was trying to dink it in the middle of the goal, and I think
it was closer to the center of the goal than it was.
I think he just totally mishit it. I think but let's be honest, what a save from Fabianski! I mean, that is one of the best penalty saves you're ever going to see. But if you want to be a statistician, that will go down as a penalty save. So that's one on his, that he doesn't save many penalties. Let's be honest, Fabianski. So
no, he doesn't. He doesn't. He saved 2 recently, and he saved one last week as well. You remember
He
the
didn't
one?
save last week's. That just got
no, it started run up. It went wide, didn't it? It went wide.
Last
Yeah,
week,
it just-
I was
it
going to
just
say, I
got
would have made
No,
what
the-
I write mug then if I forgot last week.
The Burnley bloke. The Burnley bloke. Oh yeah. No, that was brilliant. So look, then that's us down to 10 men. We've got 5 minutes, including injury time, to go. It's the 89th minute, and all of a sudden, and again, I sort of had my eyes shut. I saw the ball coming in from the left. I saw a touch that took it into the far right-hand side of the net. You saw the goal better than me, John. Describe it.
Yeah, it was just out of nothing really. They attacked down the left. They played it in. I mean, not Dawson. Declan was sort of there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
It went to Pulisic. Could Dec have done better? I'm not so sure. I don't think the midfield were back enough. If you know what I mean. I think it was one of those where. Yeah, I mean, it was a tidy finish. Was it Pulisic? Was it the American guy?
It was Pulisic.
It was a good finish. He took it well, but it was just so disappointing because obviously after the penalty miss, we're laughing at them and mocking them, and then you just think, oh, let's just see it out. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was one of them. I think maybe a proper centre half maybe could have dealt with it a bit better. I'm not blaming Dec, but I just think I don't know really. I'm in two minds whether he was to blame a little bit. You know, maybe that's me being harsh. I don't know about you, but.
Well, I think that was the last moment I saw of that game because me and Ross thought, let's get off to Fulham Broadway because I want to have something to eat. We ain't coming back from this with 10 men. So it was a good choice to get out. Bang on 90 minutes. We got down to Fulham Broadway Underground Station, right? And we got down onto the train platform, the eastbound train platform, and there was massive queues. I mean, it must have been 5 deep on the station when we got there, and we thought we were early. And the next train was in 10 minutes, right? So thinking, so we stood there, and then suddenly it gets more and more packed, right? It's 10, 15 deep on the platform by the time the train arrives. Anyway, what happened while we stand on the platform is these couple of there were 3 old Chelsea mates standing in front of us. Must have been in their late 60s, early 70s, something like that, right? And and the conversation goes like this, glad we beat those wankers, glad we did this, glad we did that. Anyway, back in West Ham. And then and then one of them's turned around to me because they clearly left early like we did. They said, did we win in the end? I said, yes, mate. He said, what was the goal like? So I had to describe the goal to him, even though I'd only seen it down in other ends. I described the goal. So I'm keeping up this front of being a Chelsea fan, right? I'm just doing it. And then he said, I'm glad we beat those tossers. I said, yeah, mate. I said, yeah. Anyway, we eventually got on the train. We got on the train, and this is where my disguise fell because we got on the train, and then we're crammed in. This bloke's right in my face, right? Because it's so tight. We're like sardines. Yeah. He said to me, where are you going to, mate? I said, Romford, because I'm a West Ham supporter. And you should have seen his face. He went red. He said, oh, I'm so sorry, mate. I said, it's all right. It's a laugh at it.
Did you start like, you want some? You want some?
Yeah, no. And afterwards, he's got. We had a lovely chat in the end. He was a nice bloke. We had a good chat in the end, and he ended up. This must have hurt him. He wished us luck against Frankfurt.
Bloody hell!
I know. So I think I made a new West Ham supporter today. You never know.
Nice.
But anyway, look, it was a good day. Final thoughts. They're my final thoughts. Danny, what's your final thoughts on the game before we do player ratings?
I'm not mad. Disappointed, but even though I'm disappointed with the way that it went down. Like I said at the beginning, I fully expected us to. I would have been ecstatic to even pull out a point from this, but seeing the lineup, realizing what's ahead, what Moyes is prioritizing, puts things in perspective that it's not the end of the world. If we didn't have Europe to be dealing with right now, yes, this would be a really shitty, tough loss to swallow, but this isn't that bad.
No,
it's just not that bad. We've got bigger fish to fry than Chelsea.
That is my feeling as well. I had a lovely day out today. I was positive even after they got the last minute winner against 10 men. I still came out the ground positive. I was really happy with the fact that our reserves had pushed them all the way. John, what's your final thoughts?
You know what I was like before the game. I wasn't that interested. I watched it because it's West Ham and it's Chelsea. As I said, I grew into the game as time went on, as I thought, you know what, we can nick something here. my eggs are all in one basket, mate. For me, it's all about Europa, which I've said I think we can win for a while now. So
Yeah, no, damn right. Damn right.
and I know it sounds, it's not being defeatist or
No.
just neglectful of the league. It's genuinely our opportunity to, number one, win a trophy and get in Champions League. You know, there's 2 boxes to tick there, 2 huge boxes, you know.
It gives
And
me
give a
bit-
club
it gives-
legend the proper sending off he deserves.
Oh yeah, and it gives me a little bit more hope, right? It gives me a little bit more hope from the rest of the season, and the fact that we ain't just stuck playing that same team who have to play in Europe and the Premier League. We can rotate a lot of that side and get away with it, like we nearly did today, right? I think that team today are going to beat Norwich, right? I think that team today are capable of taking a point off Brighton. I think that team today are capable of taking a point off Arsenal at least, right? So I'm quite upbeat and optimistic based on that. As long as Zuma comes back in the week, right? That's the other bloke. That's the other thing that bloke on the train said. This is where the Zuma thing comes in. He said, "Can't believe we sold Zuma to you. He's better than the centre halves that we've got."
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
think
maybe
also,
better than the center halves that they've got that want to stay there.
Yeah,
Rudiger don't want to be there.
Yeah.
do they?
Yeah.
I think the thing is as well is that I forgot what I was going to say now. Jesus Christ, mind block. I forgot what I was going to say. Totally. Move on. I forgot what I was going to say.
No, it's fine. Listen, we're going to go on and do the player ratings now, right? So what I've done, we haven't got Nick's flashy graphics. So everybody in the comments, give us your view. I've just got to work out how to do this. Give me a second. Where's the banners? There they are. And the players. So we're going to start off with Lucas Fabianski.
You spelled it right. Well done.
So I mean, personally, I'd give him a 7 or an 8.
8.
Danny?
8 for me.
I thought he was. Look, I'm being overly critical in regards to the penalty situation. I thought he did well today. His distribution was okay. He wasn't punching everything and looking a bit calamitous. He was fairly solid. For me, I'd say 7 for me. I'd say 7.
That seems to be the consensus in the chat as well.
There's a couple of 6s, but majority.
Yeah, I don't think he deserved the 6, definitely not. But let's give him a 7 then.
He wasn't poor today, not by
no way. So playing in an unfamiliar back 3, the next one up is Ben Johnson. Danny?
I couldn't tell if he was lined up as a left center back or as a left back.
No, he was part of a back 3.
Yeah.
And he had Sufi.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Because we had Masuaku as a wing back. I don't know. I don't know if he did anything too crazy that stood out to me. I would look more to the chat to see what people think of that.
I think the defense was solid today. I think the defense were putting in a lot of blocks. I thought he played well alongside Dawson, obviously, out of position, like you said. I thought he did well. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, for me, a 6 is not good enough for him. I thought he had a 7 today. We had a fairly solid game from Johnson, you know. Can't think of anything he did wrong.
He didn't do anything specifically that had me thinking like, oh, he fucked up here. But no.
No, there was no glaring errors, were there? There was no glaring errors. So let's give him a 7 then. So it's 2 7s so far. Next one up, everyone's favourite, Arthur Masuaku. John.
He surprised me today because, like you said, I think he got turned early on by Loftus-Cheek, and we all feared the worst going forward. But I think he was very good today. We're all critical of him, and we know he's probably going to go in the summer. Looks like Fulham are sniffing around him again. I thought he done well. He had an average game, wasn't fantastically brilliant, but I don't think I'd give him a 7, but I'll probably average score of a 6 for him today, which is good for a Masuaku score. Let's be honest.
It's a very good score. How about you, Danny?
I would have liked a repeat of what he did to Mendy in the reverse fixture, but I would say a 6 is fair. He on the ball, he found himself in open space, or found some space for himself down the line, and he didn't show any glaring weaknesses during the game. I think a 6 is more than fair for him. Glad that he didn't cost us more.
I don't know if you heard it on telly, but there was a solitary voice when he was out on the left wing with the ball. There was a solitary voice inside Stamford Bridge shouting, "Shoot!" That was me.
Surprised I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I think a 6 is fair for him. I think he had a reasonable game for Arthur.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to judge him not on his past performances. I'm judging him. He wasn't brilliant, but he wasn't bad. He had a fairly good game. He was solid. And, you know, let's be honest, we all feared the worst. And you even said it, Gal, when you saw the team sheet. I've been to these away games and he's been part of a back five.
Yeah.
Why are they doing this to me? And then after...
I could have wept.
Yeah,
until... Because I completely
funny.
ignored the rest of the lineup. That's the only name I saw on the lineup, you know. It's like...
I
Just got tunnel vision after that. That's all you
yeah.
need. Shit.
So it's 6 for Masuaku then. So let's go on to Vladimir Coufal.
Yeah, I mean, he was part of the back three, part of the three centre backs.
No, Coufal was the wing back.
Sorry, the wing back. Yeah, I thought he did all right.
Didn't get forward much, did he?
No, he didn't get forward a lot. And that was surprising, I suppose. But I don't know if Chelsea did a number on him. But
They didn't. He was just forced into taking care of defensive duties too
Yeah,
much for him to
he was
make a lot of forward runs.
he was all right. He was all right. Yeah, he wasn't below average. He was just an average game for me.
I think he dropped the ball a little bit on the goal. He gave, who was it there? Alonso.
Yeah.
Gave him a little bit too much room to get that cross in. And it wasn't the easiest pass in the world to make, but
No.
I feel like he could have been a little bit better. He has been better in those situations before, and it cost us.
Yeah.
I would say maybe a 5 is harsh, but a 6.
Yeah. I think it's the consensus in the chat seems to be 6, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, and that's what I was sort of alluding to. Average game, similar to Masuaku, 6-6-6 all round, it seems. And yeah, I mean, as Danny said, as you said, of Arsenal, I think everyone's it's quite a sweeping consensus. Actually, everyone's gone 6. So
yeah, we go 6. So it's 7-7-6-6 so far. Let's go for the next one.
By the way, I love that somebody in the comments. It looks like they were going to say Coufal, but it auto-corrected to Cougar. Yeah.
Everyone likes a Cougar, Danny. Everyone likes a Cougar.
Vlad the Cougar Coufal.
Next, we're on to Super Craig Dawson.
Mate, has anyone ever been given man of the match when getting sent off before? That's what I want to know. Because is it allowed?
Not. No, probably not.
Like specifically in this show, I've not seen it happen.
Just in general, we can do what we want. Then we can do what we want.
I have seen it happen.
I'll tell you what, right? If I look down this list of players who we've got left to score, right? I think he is the man. I think he is the man of the match. I think he is the man of the match.
Yeah.
I mean, let's know in the comments. Do you think Dawson is man of the match? I would give him. Well, look, there's a few 9s coming up here. I thought up until the sending off, he was magnificent.
I would have said a 9, but I have to take into account the red card, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And because of the red card, for me, it puts him down to an 8. But that's me being, but there's a lot of people saying 9s. 9 from Hammer's dad, 9 from Paul, Barney McGrew, also a 9. 9 a man of the match. Black Country Hammers give him a 10. Bloody hell.
See, I'd start off. I'd do a Black Country Hammer. I'll start at 10 and take a point away for the penalty and give him a 9.
We give out 10s, Gal. I mean, we don't give out a lot of 10s. Can we give out a 9?
We don't. But if we'd have got a draw at that game today with that depleted team, John, he would have deserved a 10.
Oh, he was awesome, mate. He was. He was absolutely superb.
Just unlucky in the last few minutes. I mean, that's really all that boils down to.
It was, and let's not
great performance.
Let's not underestimate the value of the players they brought onto the pitch, Chelsea. They swapped their whole front line out, didn't they? And brought fresh players on, fresh legs.
And this is an interesting comment from Mandy. One of his best games for sure. The thing is with Dawson, is that he seems to be getting better and better. The more threadbare we are in defence, the more he's standing out. Now, whether that's by hook or crook or just him being more or taking on more responsibility or just raising his game because he knows he has to, the loss of Obama, the loss of Zuma, the loss of Diop. Now he's the only centre half. The man don't to me, seem to feel pressure.
No. No,
He's just growing, game in,
you know,
game out. You know,
I read something about him the other day, and that is the other players don't like training with him because he trains like he's playing a game.
trains like he plays like he trains.
Yeah.
I've heard
He
that.
smashes into people.
I can imagine.
They get the full Dawson treatment at
I
training.
wonder if do you think Ben Rama likes playing against him? Just imagine Ben Rama.
Ben Rama jumping out of the way.
What do you think of Dalton, Dan, today?
Same player of the game or man of the match, definitely. Despite that red card, without that, it could have been an easy 9-10 performance. But
that is,
I'd say a high 7 or an 8 is fair.
Yeah, I mean that is a fantastic comment there. We'd criticise him more if he let Lukaku go, and he's probably right.
True.
You know,
It's a good point, Hammerstead.
Something, you know.
Mm.
Trini Hammer.
I hadn't thought of it like that.
Trini Hammer 8 for Balloon Dawson, as he should have realised that Lukaku is a lamppost. The best thing to do is not Martin Tyler. Yeah, but Trini, it was the only thing he did wrong in the game. He did get too tight on that one occasion. And also, Black Country Hammer, if it wasn't for Dawson, would have been a lot more than 1-0 down.
Yes,
I agree with that. Yeah.
bang on. I believe Dawson kept that from being a battering.
Yeah.
So
really.
are we saying 9 and man of the match? For
9 and man of the match for Craig Dawson.
We've give out the man of the match early, but we have to because he's legend.
So next up, we're going to move on to Aaron Cresswell. Danny.
Cresswell wasn't bad at all. I would say he wasn't better than Dawson, but given that we were playing in a formation that we haven't played a whole lot of this year, I think he did okay. Maybe a 7 or I wouldn't go an 8.
No, he was on the left of the 3, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Johnson was on the right. So I thought he looked all right. Actually, I thought he looked pretty good. I'd go 7. How about you, John?
Yeah, I think the 3 centre halves all did well, or whatever you want to call it, the centre half 3 trio.
Yeah.
I thought
He
they
covered
all
well.
Huh?
I think he covered well.
He did cover well, and you know they're playing in. I mean, I know Cresswell's done it before to some extent, playing on the left of a centre back 3 or whatever you want to call it, or a back 3. But I thought he did very well. I can't fault him for anything. He made some good blocks, as did Johnson, as did Dawson. Does he deserve to score any less than Johnson? No. So for me, it's going to be a 7, if I'm honest.
Right. Yeah. So, what's the comment saying? We've got a lot of 7s in there, haven't we? Got a lot of 7s.
Another 7 from Amit as well. Black Country Hammer, Cresswell a 7. Paul Evans, Cresswell a 7. So that's another general, you know.
Yeah, I think we've got consensus on that one as well. So next up, John, this one's going to come to you. Another one of your favourites, Mark Noble, legend.
Yeah, some would say no. Nigel. Yeah, I thought he had a solid game, mate. Like you said, his legs. Listen, he's not that old. He's 34, but he's played about 1 million games for us. He when he comes in from the cold, which he has done this season, he hasn't really let anybody down. I know he missed that penalty that was ridiculous against Man United. Yeah. Totally.
He should have never been put in that position. But
yeah, he should never been put in that position. But when he's been called on, which has this season been few and far between, he hasn't let anyone down. He knows his limitations. He knows his legs have gone. And like you said, Gary, earlier on, for 60 minutes, he put in a very competent, simple performance. He wasn't pulling up any trees, but he was doing things the simple way. And that's what football's about, simplicity sometimes.
I agree. I've got to say that I thought he was tremendous for 60 minutes. I thought he started to feel it in his legs, obviously, as it went on. But bearing in mind the team he was playing against and how mobile the likes of Kante is, I thought he done fabulously well. And a couple of key tackles as well. Good passing. I would, bear in mind where he's come from, he's been outside. I'd give him an 8 today.
Yeah.
That's
8,
my view. Yeah. Danny?
I'm happy with an 8. I don't want to give him too low of a score in case this is the last we see of him in the Premier League, which I doubt that'll be the case.
No, it won't be the last. No way.
I know he'll play against City in that last.
I think he'll play more. I think he'll play a few more games after this, mate.
Yeah,
because of rotation. And
I'd love to see him play when I'm over there.
Yeah,
well, you might see one of his last home games against Arsenal.
Oh yeah, you might do. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll still be in the UK whenever we have our last game.
So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Just some of the comments on Noble. 7 from Lawrence. 7 from Amit. 7 from Hammer's dad. Black Country Hammer gives him a 6. 7 from Paul. Trini also gives him a 7. And Mandy, Noble 7, looked like he's lost a little bit of weight.
I didn't notice that. So, John, you have the casting vote, John. What are we giving him?
I'm always going to give him a higher vote than probably needed, or not needed, but probably
Just out of respect.
But yeah, and it's maybe not the right way to mark him, but I would be happy with an 8. I'm glad you said 8 because you have to judge him on what he's got in his armory, which at the minute is diminishing week by week purely because of his age and he's coming in from the cold. So I'm happy with an 8. Might be over the top, I agree, but
Sure.
I'm happy with an 8 if you two are.
Yeah, so sorry to people in the chat, but I mean we're going to mark one up because it's Mark Noble, right? We're nothing if not completely biased. Right, next up we're going to go for who I thought had a great game today, Thomas Souček, protecting that back 3 and back 5. I thought he was quite destructive in breaking down Chelsea attacks. Nearly got knocked spark out in the first half. Brave as a lion today. Looked really, really good. Didn't hardly attempted to get forward, to be fair. I mean, he did occasionally, but he was just always right in the heart of the action, I thought, and I think it's a solid 8 from me. Danny?
8. He fought till the very end of that. He put his body on the line, much like Dawson did. This is the kind of performance that we are used to from him. Not necessarily the performance that we're used to from him, because he does make a lot more charging runs forward. But it
wasn't the attacking goal scoring Souček, the dynamic Souček. It was the defensive Souček, wasn't it?
The defensive Souček that's wonderful at providing support for that back line, getting forward maybe when he could, providing a big body in set pieces, and just overall running his ass off and not stopping and giving his all for the badge. I mean, it's what we expect from him. It's what we got from him, and it wasn't disappointing in any way.
Yeah, it's what I find quite interesting, and I know it was only against Watford and today's game included. He's performed very well on both those games when Rice hasn't been in the team. Now, I'm not getting into the whole debate. It's because one pushes forward and one.
Oh, here we go.
No. For me. No, I'll tell you what it is, Dan. For me, in my opinion, what it is, when Rice ain't in the team, I think Souček realises he's got to step up a little bit more because
got a hell of a lot more responsibility without Rice there.
Because what happens is when Rice is in the team, because Rice is by far our best player, right? Let's be totally honest about it. In my opinion, Souček looks to give the ball a lot of times to Rice, or he might think, they leave it to Declan a little bit. I think that happens. And personally, when Rice ain't there, it might make Souček think, oh, Jesus, I need to be a bit more responsible. I need to take the ball by the horns a little bit more. Today, I thought he was very good as his role today was the stopper. He just blocked things, got a foot in, got a toe in, and he actually played quite an intelligent game. And I have criticised him before for possibly not being that intelligent as a player. But he looked quite intelligent today and was in the right positions quite a lot, and he shielded the defence very well.
Yeah.
I'd say a 7.
Right, you're going 7, Danny. Well, I'm going 8. Danny, what are you going?
I think a 7 or an 8. It's crazy that we're.
Come on, you get the casting. You get the casting vote. You get the casting vote.
I'm going to say 7 because
because
he wasn't on par with Dawson necessarily. I mean, he did play his ass off, but he didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, in the chat, a lot of scores are 7s and 8s, so it's fairly split as well. To be totally honest with you.
It's crazy that we're giving out decently high scores after a loss like that.
Yeah, well, I think there's it was only just a loss, and I think to nearly get a point away at the third place team and one of the best sides in Europe, it's good, isn't it?
Essentially your B team.
Would
have been the accomplishment of itself. So.
I think that smacks of good performances all round. Fornals, this is one I'm going to have difficulty marking. So, who wants to take this one?
I'll take this one. I'm going to give him a 7. He led the line. He covered a lot of ground to provide cover for the midfield when he needed to get back. Would have loved to see more of him in attack, but it just it wasn't really meant to be. The game wasn't the pace of the game dictated that we needed to get back on defense more and worry about our defensive duty than try and create chances, and it just wasn't happening today. he did a lot with what he could. I think today played a good game. I'm gonna go with a 7.
Mm.
You'll probably get 6 7s in the chat. I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was okay. I think he gave the ball away quite a bit, if I'm honest, personally. Although he was in quite an unusual position, he was leading the line, wasn't he?
He was playing as a false 9,
yeah,
which is normally where we would have Antonio.
He didn't light up the game for me. He got caught a bit on the ball, which why he did go down a lot rolling around. And I think at one point Souček even grabbed him to pull him up off the floor.
He did, second half,
late in the second half,
Yeah, I'm not sure if Souček was saying just get up and get on with it, or he was going over, or maybe Souček thought he was going down a bit easy. But I just felt today with Fornals, he wasn't brilliant. He wasn't poor. I just think he had an average game. So for me, I'm thinking 6, but that might be hard. But
I didn't really notice him today that much. Apart from everything you just said is true, John. I think he was actually hurt when Souček tried to get him up.
It looked like he caught the studs of somebody's boot.
He got up the poor sod, and then he was struggling to walk. I
loved it though. I loved that. I loved it because know Souček's probably said to him or say it along the lines of, "I just had my head nearly beaten off again." You know what I mean?
Why does he sound like Kermit the Frog though?
Nick usually does the impressions, Dan. So I've got to step in.
Yeah. So let's go. Well, we've got 6s and 7s in the chat.
I think 6.
John thinks 6. I'm going to go 6. Danny,
you know what? 6. Yeah. 6 here.
Okay.
No, happy to have had him filled in that role and get Antonio a full rest.
Yeah,
that could prove to be huge on Thursday.
Yeah. It was. I agree with you. It was so important. It was so important for Antonio to just chill out, take it easy today. On to the next one. This is going to be interesting. Saeed Benrahma. John, go on.
Okay. There's always a big debate over Saeed Benrahma, as we know, right?
He's a little polarizing, isn't he?
Yeah, he is polarizing. He causes all sorts of disputes, right? And there's no doubt that he's a talented player, right? But if I look at him and Fornals, he has on paper more technical ability, I think, and better feet than Fornals. But the difference is between those two players is Fornals works hard. No, it's not even intelligence, Dan. For
decision making, not intelligence.
It's just working hard. You can have all the talent in the world, but I don't think there's a phrase that they use in my kids' football, and it says hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. And there's no truer statement than that, because you can be technically gifted, but if you're not going to work as hard, then you might as well not be technically gifted, because what have you actually got? You've got quick feet, so what? What are you doing with it? But to me, Benrahma today, there was a couple of times in the second half where he was on the left, obviously, and he was helping out in defence. And sometimes you just want him to put his foot through the ball, but he tries to check back inside, back into the danger zone, and he loses it, or he goes back towards his own goal. You just think sometimes he's got to do the dirty bit of football. And I know he's not that sort of player. He's got to just put his foot through the ball sometimes and get rid. Now, in an attacking sense today, I thought he had a few opportunities that, yes, he did create himself by nicking the ball off defenders, but he just weren't making the right decisions, or he was getting caught. He was outpaced today by their defence time and time again. I mean, as you said, Dan, earlier, Thiago Silva's 37. We know he's an immense player, but he's getting outstripped by him. He was being bullied off the ball physically today again.
He was very wasteful with the ball.
Mate, massively. And I really want Saeed Benrahma to come alive, because after Lanzini, he's one of our most technically gifted players. But for whatever reason, you can blame Moyes for always subbing him or whatever. But for me, he needs to start stepping up. Because if you really think your boss don't fancy you, what are you going to do when you get on the pitch? You're going to stick 2 fingers up and go, I'm going to show you what I'm about. And he's not doing it.
Well, I think you could end up, you're in danger of ended up being like someone I saw warming up that no one even took any notice of today, and that was Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley gently jogging up and down the touchline. No one took any fucking notice of him. This is a guy who was a potential star a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
What a waste of a career. What a waste of a career.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, how about,
Sorry,
so,
that was quite
what's
a
your-
long. That was quite.
no,
a long
I think it's accurate as well. What score are you giving him?
Look, Fornals wasn't great, but for his at least his work ethic, he's going to be a 6. I
Yeah.
can't say Ben Rama gave the same work ethic or had the same work ethic, so I'm going to have to go 5.
Yeah.
I won't go any lower than 5 because I think it's too low.
No.
But 5 for me, mate.
I think it's a
Sorry.
good 5, Danny.
5 or a 6.
Yeah.
I don't think he was better than Fornals today. He like I said, and John went on this diatribe about how frustrating it is to have a player of his caliber, really of his caliber, of his talent level, be so not reckless isn't the word, but just irresponsible with the ball and get himself into all these positions where we think we're going to score. We're in a really good spot to where if he either gets rid of the ball in time or if he just has a go, we've got a good chance, but he dithers and does these unnecessary step overs and shit. And a 4 is a bit harsh, honestly. I'm seeing that in the comment section. A 5 or a 6, but I'm leaning more towards a 5 here.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5 as well. I think 5's fair. I don't think he was crap. I think what he I think everything you've both just said is really accurate. And the thing that always frustrates me with Ben Rama is no finished article. He gets me. He always gets me up off my seat.
Creates excitement, yes.
And then I have to sit back down again.
Yeah.
You know, he's just
I think there's a good point here from Mandy. Just a couple of points on this one, because this is always splitting the fan base. He just needs to make the right choices. Yeah, he does. But when is he going to get to that maturity level to do that? And in the Premier League, you need to make them quicker.
Yeah.
And this is, I have to agree with Garino here. He says, Benrahma did nothing wrong. No, he did nothing wrong, but he did a lot of bad. He didn't do anything wrong, but he made bad decisions. But yes, there was that opportunity when Yarmolenko sort of nicked it off his toe. And if Benny maybe got that shot away and hit the target or scored, that could have changed his game, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with Garino there.
I'll tell you what, he gets himself into so many good positions.
Yeah, he does.
If he made the right decision, we'd have a very expensive player on our hands.
100%. He has a very anticlimactic dimension to his game.
That is the perfect way of saying it. Anticlimactic, exactly. Yeah.
You get so
Danny said anti, not anti.
Oh, sorry, anticlimactic. Yeah.
Whatever. Ye fucking haw.
He's coming over this week. We sort that accent out. Don't worry about that.
If he comes to the Frankfurt, game and starts calling it a semi-final.
Yeah.
No, I have been calling that the semi-final. A semi is a different thing. Here,
excellent. Semi is a different thing.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go on to before we get onto the subs. Let's go on to so what we got. We all gave him a 5, Benrahma, yeah, and we go on to Yarmolenko. Now Yarmolenko, I thought he worked his socks off as much as you know that Yarmolenko has got no pace. He definitely put himself about though. He doesn't mind the physical side of the game. Yarmolenko, he definitely goes in where it hurts. You probably didn't see a lot of his work off the ball on telly. Because he definitely put in a shift today, and I would give, even though he did get caught offside quite a few times, I would give him easily a 6. What do you two think, John?
100%. He put in a lot of work. It was the most I've seen him run for a long time. He was trying to angle his runs. We know he got caught off a lot of times, as you said. He was quite good with. I can't remember what it was now. He was doing a few little sort of triangle passes with a couple of players, little intricate things.
Yeah,
you know what you get from him. He wasn't fantastic. He wasn't below average. I think a 6 is very fair. And yeah, you're right. He don't mind the physical side of things, does he?
No. And Danny?
Not disappointed in his performance. I'd rather him get caught off sides and create a little excitement. Show some energy than just kind of walk around and do nothing. But it's not that he has a lazy playing style or anything. He's just kind of more laid back, and it's
just the way he is. It's the way he runs.
Yeah, it's his playing style.
Do you know who he reminds me of a lot? He reminds me of Dimitar Berbatov, the way he looks like he's not interested at times. You know what I mean? He just sort of strolls about a lot, bit of a hunched demeanour. you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden he'll burst into a little bit of life for a couple of seconds and then go back into the hunched demeanour again.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he has come to life at West Ham, sort of in some. I know he scored the goal at Chelsea a couple of years ago, and whatever. But I think it's a shame that he's come to life near enough
So
to the end of
late
his
in his
time.
tenure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a shame, really, that because he could have been such a great player. We know what he could have been,
And the crowd really like him now, so it will be a shame to see him go. To be fair, he's started to show.
They might give him a year.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look,
Better be on some reduced wages.
yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Shit.
So we give him a 6. I mean, there are 3 subs. Probably not worth marking Bowen and Lanzini. Let's give them what? Should we give them a 6 because they didn't do much when they came on, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, give them a 6. Let's just talk about one sub, the only sub that's worth talking about, and that's Deck.
Yeah.
So points for Deck, scores for Deck in the comments, please. I personally think when he came on, he really made a difference, and I don't want to blame him for that goal at the end because he found himself suddenly playing in a back 3
That was already depleted.
It was already depleted without the main man there, without Dawson on his own. Probably should have got more protection, as has already been said, from Soufal from the ball actually coming in.
Yeah.
But I just want to comment on what Deck did when he was playing in his prime position, which is central midfield. And I thought for those few minutes he was on the pitch, I mean, he was on a half an hour, I think. And the first 10 minutes he came on, he really put himself about. He embarrassed Lukaku. He looked like a man playing amongst a bunch of kids for a lot of time in the middle there. He is a presence when he comes on, and I can't give Deck any less than for that little half-hour cameo. I'm going to give him an 8.
8?
Yeah, just for that little half-hour
It's
cameo.
hella generous, but
Listen, no, that's just me. That's just me. What do you think, Danny?
I would go with a 6 or a 7.
Yeah,
maybe a 7. He was better in his 30 minutes than Ben Rama was in his time on the pitch in Fornals, but I don't know about an
I've been known to get some scores wrong before.
There's no such thing as getting a score wrong.
But I'll tell you what, right? When I was in the ground, that little bit that I tell you, I can't keep. I mentioned it 3 times already. But what he did to Lukaku, it was so brilliant. It was so good. Yeah, all right. I rescind my 8. I'll go to a 7. No. I'll go to a 7. I'll go to a 7. I'll go to a 7. I'm embarrassed.
I was going to say a 7. I was going to say a 7.
Yeah, all right. If you're going to go for a 7, what do the other people think? So mainly a 7.
What in the chat?
Yeah.
We've got Barney McGrew with a 6, Paul N with a 6, Black Country Am with a 6. Amit has broken the rules and given a 6.5. Amit, if you carry on, mate, you're going to get banned.
Look at Garino.
What's that?
That's a brilliant comment. Garino said, Gary, rumours are that Rice has rejected the offer of an 8.
For the 3rd time.
Brilliant.
I love that. Well done, Guido.
Yeah, the chat, predominantly the chat is 6s, Gal. Barney McGrew's livid with you, Gal. No way, got it.
Sorry, Bun. All right, I've settled on 7. I'm prepared to be baited down, but I'm going 7. I'm not going below a 7. Danny, you've gone 7. John,
7,
you've gone
but 7. I wouldn't go below that.
I'd say 7.
Yeah. Just, I still think he deserves a 9 for what he did to Lukaku. Sorry,
I will say this about him being subbed on in the first place. I think, much like John had said about growing into the game, when he had come on in the 60th minute, I think Moyes had sent a message that you bring on a player like that and
take the game to them a little bit.
That he maybe wasn't just going to sit there and be content with just taking a point from this. So despite it not having worked out in the end, I'm going to commend Moyes for having a go at him.
It showed intent, didn't it? That's what it did.
Yeah.
It showed intent.
You don't bring a player like that on to just kick the ball around and take the result that you're going to get.
I think Paul covers it nicely here. He's a Rolls Royce, and that's what he looked like when he came on, Paul. He was a Rolls Royce of a player. So look, there's only one more person to score, and that is big bad Davy Moyes. What are we going to give Davy Moyes today?
I think Moyes did everything we wanted him to do. A little bit of rotation. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we probably wanted him to do it a few games ago now to try and save legs, save players, etc., etc. But his argument will be, well, you know, we're still battling in terms of the league in European spot. We know it's dwindling a little, and that we're in the semi-final of the Europa League. So he'll say it's worked to some extent. But I think he now sees the importance of Thursday's game, and I was over the moon when he made as many changes as he did. So for that reason alone, listening to the fan base, which he probably didn't do, he's just done it himself. I'll score him. I'll score him a 7.
Yeah. How about you, Danny?
7. If we had come out of that unscathed with just a 0-0 draw, that could have been as high as an 8 or a 9, honestly, just because he rotated the fucking squad, and I'm just so happy and appreciative that he's done that. You
know, I'm generous tonight, but with Moyes, I would have given him. Yeah, I would have given him a 9 if we'd have got a draw. I'd give him an 8. I'd give him an 8 now. That would be my choice. But you two go 7, so that's consensus wins. What we got in the chat?
I'll tell you what we got in the chat. Someone had to bring it up, didn't they? Mandy again. 6 for Moyes for picking Arthur.
For giving me the shock.
Hey, props to the fans that were at the ground today, that even after we went down 1-0 very, very late, did you guys still sing the Super David Moyes song? Because I heard it.
Yeah, that was loud today. That was a loud song today. That one, I've got to say, that was one that was heard from everywhere.
There were some brilliant songs in there today.
Amik's giving him an 8. Black Country 8 is giving him an 8 as well. Garino says 7. Good to see some rotation, but thought we could have brought on some attackers to go for the win. You see, this is the thing, isn't it? Because
he
before
did bring on attackers, he brought on Lanzini and Bowen. It was just too.
Well, no, but he's probably thinking Antonio.
I wouldn't have bought Antonio on.
No. I'm not saying you should, but this is what I'm saying. At the beginning of the game, we wanted a total reshuffle, but because we was in the game so late and we thought we can nick it, we then want him to bring players on to try and nick it, like Rice, like Bowen, and whoever else. Do you know what I mean? So I sort of get what Garino's saying there. He did go for it a little bit. Barney McGrew gives him a 7. Paul gives him an 8, as does Ashley. Ashley's who's he marking? Paul Evans says 9. Great tactics, robbed by the officials. Yeah.
We lost Gary.
Barcelona lost 1-0 to Vallecano. I didn't know that. Did you? Did you know that?
They're in a bad run of form, though. They just lost to Cadiz last week. They're in a very poor run of form.
He's back. Hello, Gal.
That's why the Barcelona might even have been an easier opponent than fucking Frankfurt at this point. But
you're all right. Yeah, the consensus with Moyes looks to be 7s.
All right, we'll go with a 7. I'll back down. I'll get off my All right, so I think that's us done for the show. John, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, so again, just want to say a big thank you to our American friend Danny.
Cheers,
who is going to be over in the UK as of, when do you fly over? Wednesday?
I land on Tuesday, and I'll see you in
Tuesday.
Like
so
6 days,
you landed on Tuesday, just in time for the semi-final of the Europa League. You've got tickets for that. So what a first game watching West Ham you've got there.
Yeah, that is insane. That is
so crazy. Lucky. You are so lucky. If you don't love West Ham enough, after Thursday, win, lose or draw, the atmosphere is going to be so good. Actually, not lose or draw. We're going to win.
We're going to win.
You will be in love even more so. So anyway, thanks for coming on. Short notice covering for Nick. You're far better looking and obviously intelligent than Nick. So don't tell him that. Once again, thanks to Danny. Thanks everyone in the chat for commenting. We love all the comments. We love the bit of banter we get, and we may not always agree with the scores. And Gary sometimes is very happy with his 9s, but we do appreciate the scores. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Don't forget to like tonight's show. And apparently, if you hit the bell notification, you get notified of all our upcoming shows in the week. We've got some daily news stuff. Gary, Nick, and myself do now. And obviously, Thursday, I'm not sure we're going to do a preview yet. We don't know if we've got time, but we may well do. But if you hit the bell notification, you'll be told. So don't forget to do so. Thanks a lot. And Gary, hit us out.
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.